Hello, you're watching Continental Prime on News Central Television. Welcome. My name is Felicity Ezewike. Headlines at this hour. Beninese court remands Yoruba secessionist agitator Sunday Igboho in prison. UK freezes assets of Zimbabwean president's aide over allegation of corruption. 800 Ugandans receive fake COVID-19 vaccines in the month of May. We'll bring you details of these stories and more shortly. Many thanks again for joining us. We begin in West Africa. An appeal court in Benin Republic has adjourned the hearing of the case of Yoruba Nation activist Sunday Igboho till Monday, July 26. This is according to a statement by the umbrella body of Yoruba self-determination groups. The statement, which was signed by the group's communications manager Maxwell Adeleye, noted that Beninese court had on Thursday ruled that Igboho's wife should be released unconditionally as there were no charges against her. The court, however, ruled that Igboho be remanded in prison custody till the next date of adjournment. The two were arrested at the airport in Cotonou on Monday, July 19th, while they tried to catch a flight to Germany. Meanwhile, counsel to aides of the controversial Yoruba Nation agitator Sunday Igboho has commended the Federal High Court in Abuja for demanding that the Department of State Services produce the accused at the next court sitting. The counsel, Pelumi Olajegbesi, spoke to newsmen in Abuja, accusing the intelligence service of refusing to allow the accused to meet with their lawyers. The counsel says that they have also been kept incommunicado and have been denied visits by their families. It says the court ruling is a victory for democracy.
Court has compelled the DSS to produce the applicant to the court in the next adjourned date. This is very important because, you see, we must not encourage people who are given powers to work on behalf of the state to abuse the power. The applicants were arrested in a Gestapo manner, and they've been kept incommunicado for almost 20 days. As a matter of fact, we've written to the DSS on several occasions. We've visited their facility, but they've denied the applicants the opportunity to meet with their lawyers. They've denied the applicants the opportunity to meet with their family. But today we are glad that the court has found merit in this application. So we can only thank God and thank the court for its industry and for understanding that the judiciary is the last hope of the common man.
Joining us on Continental Prime to discuss this issue is legal practitioner Bashir Badruddin. Thank you very much for joining us. Quickly, let's take your reaction to the council's comments on the ruling.
Yeah, good evening, viewers. I think I align myself with his position, foremost because constitutional rights is something that is usually, fundamental rights is something that is usually called God-given rights. The ruling is just to say, okay, produce these people. Let us have access to them. It has nothing to do with what they have done or what they have not done. It has nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with their charges. It has nothing to do with anything. The ruling is good for us, yes, because we're able to access.
Hello?
We're able to access them. Hello, can you hear me, please?
Okay, there seems to be an interference with our communication with Mr. Bashir Badruddin. Mr. Badruddin, can you hear us?
I can still hear you very clearly.
Okay, go ahead with your submission, sir.
Very well. So the ruling is acceptable, is good for us, but there is nothing yet to celebrate in the ruling. Let them produce these people. Yes, it's constitutional rights, it's guaranteed by our laws. So let them be produced. It is wrong. I say very emphatically, it is wrong to keep anyone in incarceration in a state of incommunicado for too long. The Constitution is very clear.
Mr. Badruddin, can you hear me?
Very clearly. Can you hear me now?
Okay, I'm trying to interject because there seemed to be an interference, so we can't really hear you clearly. Do you have maybe any gadget on beside your communication device?
No, I don't think so. I don't have. I'm speaking through my phone.
Okay, go ahead, sir. I think the noise is a bit reduced.
And I'm not even in a noisy environment. I'm in my office, so
all right, sir. Go ahead.
And I don't know. I can also hear the noise, but I don't know where it's coming from.
An average 36-point winning margin.
All right, what we'll do now is go on a very short break, and when we come back, the news will continue. Stay with us. We apologize sincerely for that technical glitch. Continuing with the news now, still in Nigeria, the military have taken delivery of more military wares to aid the fight to dislodge insurgency and terrorism. The United States Department of Defense had awarded the contract for the manufacturing of 12 A-26 Super Tucano combat aircraft on behalf of the Nigerian Air Force, following the approval of Nigeria's request by the Trump administration. The contract was awarded to an American aerospace contractor, Sierra Nevada Corporation, for an initial sum of $329 million. We have details in this report.
Tackling the menace of insecurity is the topmost priority of every government that has the good of its citizens at heart, and Nigeria is not left out. Insurgency and Boko Haram onslaught is likened to a plague that has left thousands of residents homeless, especially in the northern part of Nigeria and other West African nations like Chad, Niger, Cameroon and others. This has necessitated several airstrikes by the armed forces of Nigeria. And so to help in this fight in the heat of insecurity, the Nigerian government has received the arrival of 6 A-29 Super Tucano aircraft, being the first batch of the American-built military wear.
Our strategic objectives are manifold and include to neutralize non-state actors and other agents of violence in our communities, forests and countryside, to stabilize the security situation across the nation, to facilitate law and order, and lastly, to provide the enabling environment for peace and development.
On behalf of my colleagues, I want to commend our armed forces and other security agencies for fighting the myriad of security challenges across the country. We appreciate what you are doing because we know that you are doing your best with what you have at hand.
The A-29s are expected to improve counterinsurgency operations and provide valuable airstrike supports for the soldiers.
We now head back to that story on Sunday Igboho, the Yoruba Nation agitator who is currently in Benin. We have joining us again legal practitioner Bashir Badruddin. Thank you very much for your patience, and we apologize for the technical glitches. So let's see if we can get your thoughts a little clearer this time. Quickly, what's your summation of the court ruling? And from there, we'll talk about what's happening with Igboho in Benin Republic.
Like I said earlier, the court ruling is a win for democracy, yes. Our law is very clear. You cannot keep someone away from his family members except for good reasons. We have provisions of the Constitution that says if anybody is arrested, let this person be produced before a court of competent jurisdiction. Do we have courts around the place? Yes, we do. Within 48 hours. This is more than 48 hours. So the court ruling is a plus to democracy. But that has not said anything yet, because it has not even touched upon what they have done or what they did not do. Good. The court has said, produce them. This is fantastic. And I think I gave my applause to the judge.
Quickly, while we are waiting for the court ruling in Benin Republic as regards the repatriation, what's your thinking on the situation at the moment? Do you, from your legal background, do you think that the court might, lean towards repatriating Igboho to Nigeria, or do you see hesitation keeping him there?
Because, of course, yes. There are a lot of issues surrounding this extradition matter. Number one, Nigeria is one of the 4 countries that signed an agreement with the likes of Togo, Benin Republic, and Ghana. Ghana, Nigeria, Benin Republic, and Togo have an extradition agreement in 1984. Beyond that, we also have another position, a resolution of the United Nations General Assembly, which actually will command or mandate any country where a request is made for extradition. So there are a lot of comments I've heard from here and there, and they say, no, the country cannot, there is no rule, there is no law that says Benin Republic cannot repatriate or extradite Sunday Igboho. He will be extradited because offenses that will make the country that this demand is being made from to extradite such an offender or the person they wanted under the extradition definition includes a politically related matter. Okay, today, the argument of some protagonists is that, oh, no, it is a question of self-determination. And because if he's just being wish-hunted, all these will go to nothing. It will definitely go to nothing. His lawyers ought to have advised him to show up when federal government declared him wanted. Go with him to court, present him before the court, and tell the government, this is Sunday Igboho. Let him be heard. Then you can lawfully apply for his bail. Now they are jumping from here to here, making statements. I, for one, will continue to say, by the time they extradite him and bring him back to Nigeria, that is when you see lawyers queuing up only to make a show. The truth is, the law is very clear. The government of Benin Republic can extradite him and will extradite him if the government of Nigeria makes its request.
All right, let's look a bit at the release, the court asking that these young men that were aides to Igboho be released. And of course, the extradition situation, you've talked a bit about what should be the scenario. But what does the law really say on this for the benefit of the ordinary man who is listening to the news at this hour, trying to understand what is the position of the law in this?
Like I said, there is a treaty in 1984 signed by 4 countries: Togo, Nigeria, Ghana, and Benin Republic on extradition. So, by that law, Sunday Igboho can be extradited if the condition is met. The government requesting for extradition will apply. If Nigeria applies, definitely Sunday Igboho will be extradited. That is the law. That is the position of the law. Then, there is another side to it. I think I read somewhere somebody claiming that, okay, yes, there is this Article 12, sub 4 of the African Charter. Yes, I have also read this Article 12, sub 4. for the benefit of every other person, I will read the provision. The provision says a non-national legally admitted in a territory of a state party to the present charter may only, that is the operative word, may only be expelled from it by virtue of a decision taken in accordance with the law. Now the question is this non-national in question, Sunday Igboho, legally admitted into the Republic of Benin? The answer is no. So will this provision avail him? The answer is no. This is the position. They should not just put wool on people's faces. It's very clear.
All right, I want you to speak quickly in the time that we have left on the allegations around him possessing a Beninese passport.
Very good. That is another dangerous trend. In that environment, it's a crime. And if he's found guilty by Monday, he's going to spend 21 years in prison. That is another thing. In that side of the coin, Sunday Igboho is not favored, unfortunately. Unfortunately, his lawyers have not advised him appropriately.
All right, Mr. I'm really afraid, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we're pressed for time. I will say thank you very much for joining us on the news.
You're welcome.
All right. Controversies have continued to trail the death of 14-year-old Karin Agbaga, a student of the Premier Academy located in the Lugbe area of Abuja, as the family of the victim insists she was sexually molested while in school, though the school authorities have continued to deny the claims, saying she was a victim of a medical condition badly managed. The family of Karin are insisting she died following complications from a case of rape. Our correspondent Amadine Uyi tells us more.
Premier Academy, located at the Lugbe area of Abuja, has been in the eye of the storm in the last 6 weeks. This followed the death of Karin Agbaga, a 14-year-old student of the school. Though Karin has since been buried, unresolved circumstances surrounding the cause of her death has continued to pose many unanswered questions.
Medically, for the number of years I've practiced, at least I've been in it for over 20 years, I know she was mismanaged. Because with what she was already in, the next step would have been for her to go into coma. But with prompt medical attention, we would have been able to bring her out by suppressing the blood sugar. But rather than managing her, they decided to sedate her. She wouldn't have been able to come out of it at her age and with all that.
There's no hiding place. They are now changing it, shifting the goalpost and saying, yes, she may have been raped, but it did not happen in their school. Karen was in Premier Academy, Lugbe, for at least over 6 weeks before she got so sick, and eventually we discovered she had been raped and she died.
The mother of Karen spoke to newsmen in Abuja, claiming circumstances leading to her death showed there are many unanswered questions by the school authorities.
My daughter called through the school phone and she started crying that, "Mommy, I said you should come and pick me." I said I came, but the school wouldn't let me. So when she was crying, I got angry. But she asked to speak with my brother who was with me. After they had ended the call, I asked my brother what she said, and she said, "You people don't even know why I'm asking you to come and pick me, and you're going back without me." And the house mother told my brother that she couldn't even walk to school on Wednesday, 16th, that's the Wednesday before the Saturday, that she had to be supported by her friends to go and write a test, which she wrote crying.
She alleges that there is evidence that Karen was sexually molested while in school.
I rushed her to the clinic. When we got there, in the process of giving her drip, they said because she was still weak, they had to insert a catheter in her. In the process, they saw a discharge. They tested that and found that it was condom. And then when they tested the urine, they said it contained dead spermatozoa. And And then throughout her stay, even though she was in a semi-conscious state, she was fighting and shouting, please, just let me go and be.
The police are calling on all parties to sheath their sword till an autopsy earlier conducted on Karen, with a medical report being expected, is finally released to the public. However, friends and family of Karen say they have lost confidence in the ability of the FCT Police Command to handle the case. They are insisting they want the case transferred out of the command. News Central Television is following up on events and will update you as more information comes in. From Abuja, Amadine Uyi, News Central Television.
Thank you very much, Amadine. Now, in the south of the continent, Zimbabwe's President Emerson Mnangagwa's advisor, Kudakwashe Tagwari, assets are to be frozen and a travel ban placed against him over allegation of corruption. UK Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab called for the asset freeze, saying that Tagwari was at the center of a controversial government agricultural subsidy where he is alleged to have siphoned over $1 billion from the state treasury. Raab pointed out that his actions accelerated the deflation of Zimbabwe's currency, increasing the price of essentials. On a short break, the news continues. Afterwards, stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. In the east of the African continent, Kenya has begun using drones to identify mosquito breeding sites in the country and killing them at the larval stage. Health Minister Mutahi Kagwe says the drones will help in assessing hard-to-reach areas, particularly in counties where malaria is prevalent. The drones will spray non-toxic biodegradable control substance to kill mosquito larvae. This will ensure the mosquitoes do not continue to breed as the fight against malaria continues. The technology to be deployed was introduced to the Kenyan government by the Malaria Council, a public-private community partnership fighting malaria in Kenya. Malaria remains one of the top 3 causes of death in Kenya among children below the age of 5. Tanzania and Malawi are 2 of the African countries also using this technology in the fight against malaria. Joining us on the news to discuss this is the Dean of School of Health and Human Sciences at Pwani University, Dr. Makorani Njido, I beg your pardon. Thank you very much, Doctor, for joining us on the news.
Thank you.
Let's get your take. What is the reception to the use of drone technology in the fight against malaria?
Well, the use of technology, especially of drones in health services or health intervention, is not new in the region. In Rwanda, for example, we have the government in partnership with a private company using drones for distribution of emergency drugs and blood. And this we were also looking at, but now we are using drones in the fight against malaria. And towards this, it will open a new phase in intervention processes or intervention programs in the fight against diseases. And the use of drones, which have been used elsewhere for other nefarious activities, are now being used for the good of the people.
There's always this question about sustainability. From what you've seen, you say it's not new, but from what you've seen, is it sustainable? Can the government ensure that the success that is being achieved will be maintained?
The zeal in the fight of malaria in our country, Kenya, is really commendable. And neighboring to Pwani University, where I teach, is the Kenya Medical Research Institute, which runs a global center for malaria research. And the research has brought quite some good intervention processes, as well as brought in the cutting edge of science to the fight of malaria. And the work done by KEMRI and the government through KEMRI has not only been sustainable, but it's very highly commendable. And we have an international consortium which works together with KEMRI, who are also one of our collaborating institutes. And we can say that sustainability is not really a worry to the malaria program.
All right, as much as this is good news in a lot of areas, there are some people who make money from selling insecticides. What would be the impact for the insecticide companies, especially in Kenya?
Well, if I was running an insecticide company, I would go with the times and ensure that I am in tandem with what is being done. Because when you know that it's no longer raining as it used to be, you go around and start entrepreneurial activities in digging wells, for example, so that you can make money. So you dry your hay while the sun is shining.
All right, Dr. Makorani Mjido, Dean of the School of Health and Human Sciences at Pwani University. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
To one of our top stories at this hour, at least 800 people in Uganda received fake COVID-19 vaccines last month from unapproved people as the country is battling a surge in cases from the ongoing fourth wave. According to Dr. Warren Namara, the Director of Health Services Monitoring Unit under the presidency, the counterfeit jabs were administered over May and June during a deadly surge of the coronavirus in the East African nation, when new infections soared to record highs of about 1,700 cases per day. Namara said the fraudsters targeted people looking to pay for immunization, including corporate employees, at a time when vaccines were in short supply. The scammers charged recipients about 80,000 to 500,000 Ugandan shillings for a fake shot. Still ahead, finally laid to rest, Haiti buries president amid protests. More on this when we return. Stay with us. The body of slain Haitian President Jovenel Moïse has been returned to his hometown today, Friday, for a private funeral amid heavy security following violent protests and fears of political volatility in the Caribbean nation. A group of supporters carried a large portrait of Moïse and paraded while the police band played the national anthem with loud wails. Hundreds of protesters clashed with police outside the private residence as the ceremony continued. United States Ambassador to the UN, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, who led the U.S. presidential delegation to the funeral, urged everyone to express themselves peacefully and refrain from violence. The World Meteorological Organization says water-related hazards dominate the list of disasters in terms of both the human and economic toll over the past 50 years. According to WMO's Atlas of Mortality and Economic Losses from Weather, Climate and Water Extremes, United Nations spokesperson Farhan Haq said the top 10 events include storms and floods.
The Meteorological Organization today said that water-related hazards dominate the list of disasters in terms of both the human and economic toll over the past 50 years. According to WMO's Atlas of Mortality and Economic Losses from Weather, Climate, and Water Extremes, of the top 10 disasters, the hazards that led to the largest human losses during the period have been droughts, with 650,000 deaths, storms, 577,232 deaths, floods, 58,700 deaths, and extreme temperature, 55,736 deaths. With regard to economic losses, the top 10 events include storms and floods. The data shows that over the 50-year period, weather, climate, and water hazards accounted for 50% of all disasters, 45% of all reported deaths, and 74% of all reported economic losses at the global level.
Still talking climate, former governor of Bayelsa State and currently a federal lawmaker in Nigeria, representing the state located in South-South region, has criticized Parliament's decision to reduce proposed host communities funds to about 3% in the recently passed petroleum industry bill. Seriake Dixon, while expressing his displeasure to newsmen in Abuja, in Nigeria's federal capital, accused the Senate of trying to be politically correct without considering the input of host communities in the bill. Dixon describes the action by the Senate as a call to anarchy, saying the bill, if signed into law by President Muhammadu Buhari, will not guarantee peace in Nigeria's Niger Delta region. We'll now join Lekon Onabanjo for the rest of business news.
Hello and welcome. This is Business News on NC Continental Prime. I am Lekon Onabanjo. The African Development Bank Board of Directors have approved a $20 million flexible loan to finance Seychelles' governance and economic reform support program. This is expected to help drive the island nation's macroeconomic stability and recovery from COVID-19 in the medium term. The government program aims to deepen reforms introduced through the bank's COVID-19 crisis response budget support program, approved in June 2020 for $10 million. These reforms are expected to advance fiscal sustainability, improve the business environment, and Seychelles' climate change and environmental resilience. The banks approved an ongoing portfolio in Seychelles as at July 2021 comprises 5 operations in the public sector, totaling $45.7 million. Of these, 53% are in the water supply and sanitation sector, while 47% is in the multi-sector. Etwekini Municipality Mayor Nsolisa Kaunda has reassured the Swedish government that the city is working to protect foreign investment and save jobs following the recent unrest in the city. Kaunda met with the ambassador of Sweden to South Africa, Hakan Joholt, on Friday. Kaunda said it was encouraged that Team Sweden, led by Ambassador Joholt, had encouraged their partners and businesses to unite with South Africa to protect and rebuild communities impacted by last week's widespread violent unrest, riots and looting. Joholt reassured Kaunda that Swedish investors intended to stay in the city and help the government to rebuild the country. Let's also tell you that in South Africa, Vodacom Mpumalanga region has become the first network provider in that province to switch on first live 5G mobile network in Bombela municipality with other municipal districts in the pipeline. The 5G network is currently available on 6 live 5G sites in Mpumalanga province and supports both mobile and fixed wireless access services. Vodacom customers with 5G-enabled devices and within the 5G coverage area are now able to access the new 5G network in Mpumalanga province. Last year, May, Vodacom switched on South Africa's first live 5G mobile network in 3 cities, Johannesburg, Pretoria and Cape Town. This network supports both mobile and fixed wireless services and is currently available in Gauteng and in Cape Town. In addition, more 5G devices are expected to become accessible to South Africans in future. Kenya is among countries set to benefit from 80 million euros, which is about $94 million funding from the European Union investment arm to increase geothermal power production. The European Investment Bank, an investment arm of the EU, approved the funding recently targeting private sector-led geothermal power projects in East Africa. The funding will benefit projects in Kenya and 17 other countries, including Ethiopia, Rwanda, Tanzania, Uganda, Mauritius, Mozambique and Madagascar. The money is part of the global 4.1 billion euros, that's about $4.8 billion, that the bank has lined up for the private sector to accelerate renewable energy investment. The funding is a boost to Kenya, which is in the race to cut further the share of expensive geothermal power in the national grid by raising the output of geothermal, wind and hydropower sources. The EIB last year spent 96 million euros, that's about $113 million, on 3 projects in Kenya, including 3.1 billion Kenyan shillings, translating to $28.6 million for the Kenya Agricultural Value Chain Facility. And on Friday, the Egyptian Ministry of Petroleum announced an increase in gasoline prices and fixed other fuel prices from July to September 2021. New prices for the 3 types of fuel became effective as at 9 a.m. According to the new amendment, the price of octane 80 fuel is now $6.75 Piatris per litre. 92 octane fuel is $8 per litre, and 95 octane fuel is $9 per litre. The price of diesel fuel remains fixed at $6.75 Piatris per litre, as well as the price of diesel for the industrial sector at $3,900 per tonne. The decision came based on the recommendation from the Automatic Pricing Committee for Petroleum Products, which monitors and adjusts petroleum product prices in Egypt on a quarterly basis in light of global fuel prices increasing due to production cuts. And that's all on business news at this hour. NC Continental Prime continues shortly. I am Lekon Onobanjo.
Let's now join Shehu Bankole for the latest trends across the African continent.
It's Friday on NC Trends. Welcome on board. I am Shehu Bankole. Now, trending today on the social media space is Adekunle Gold and Simi, who have just given us the music video we didn't know we wanted, in some people's words. The Afro-pop singer released the music video to his latest song, Sina, featuring New Orleans singer Lucky Daye, with an appearance from his wife, Simi, as the video vixen. Now, Sina is Adekunle Gold's second official single for 2021, following the release of his previous single, It Is What It Is. And when asked what inspired the song, AG Baby said it is about the biblical story of King David and Bathsheba. He said, and I quote, "I know it's a story people talk about that shows the frailty of David, but I chose to see that she must have been so beautiful, so I thought to write about it in that way." Now, moving to Twitter, let's see some reactions to the new video. Alaji Roy says, Adekunle Gold might as well start a masterclass on evolving as an artist. He's doing the thing well and is excelling at it. Also, we have this tweet from Jamal, who says Adekunle Gold's growth has been extremely impressive, and then he's now teaming up with his wife. Another exceptional act to do their career thing together. Beyonce and Jay-Z no do pass this one. Also, we have this coming from Jessica, who says, it is the intimacy and genuine happiness for me. Another Deja, that's Adekunle Gold and Simi's daughter, was made right after the shoot. I love you all. Away from that, Bishop David Oyedepo, the founder and presiding bishop of the Living Faith Worldwide, also known as Winners Chapel International, has clarified things on the recent happenings in the church. According to him, the pastors who were sacked because they were unfruitful and blatant failures. He said, and I quote, "When we employed 7,000 people at a time, social media was dead. We have employees in this organization that most of the state, and we don't owe salaries. We are hunting after souls, not after money. We have never lacked money and we have never prayed for it. We simply obey God and He backs us up." Now, this has stirred even more reactions online. We'll now take to Facebook to check a few of them. JT Ojituku says, "If they are full-time pastors on salaries, I think they should do what they are employed to do." Another comment from engineer Ubongumana says, "We can't say none of the churches can generate these monies in 30 years. If we believe in growth and we have faith, then nothing is impossible. Let's not talk down our Christian work with humanly expectations." Finally, on Bishop Oyedepo, we have this comment from engineer Honors Dennis. He says, "Just imagine how the pastor's children will feel that their father is sacked because he is not winning souls in this present world, that the evil is worse." This conversation is still ongoing online. Share your thoughts below the Oyedepo's video on Facebook or our YouTube channel at New Central TV. Finally, to this mind-blowing story, the most flexible man in Nigeria, Oyindamola Kolawole, known by his stage name Deflex, wowed judges on the America's Got Talent stage and got impressive comments plus a loud ovation. Now, the entertainer who twists and bends his body into unnatural positions showed off his skills and wowed the judges and the audience at his audition, which he dedicated to his wife, whom he said has done a lot for him. This is giving him some well-deserved spots in the limelight, and we love it. Let's check some comments on YouTube. First, we have this one from Annabella. She says, "He isn't just the most flexible man in Nigeria. He is the most flexible man in the world." Wow. Amazing. Tosin Aro Shafe says, "Inspire the worries in the economy of the country. You weather through it to render a beautiful piece on the stage. Thank you, Deflex. The sacrifice will not go unrewarded. This is beautiful." That's where we wrap things up today. Thank you for joining us. Follow us on social media at New Central TV and subscribe on YouTube to follow our latest trends. I'm Shion Bankole. Have a fabulous weekend.
For what to expect across Africa, let's go to our weather desk. That's all at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of our major stories. Beninese court remands Yoruba secessionist agitator Sunday Igboho in prison. UK freezes assets of Zimbabwean president's aide over allegation of corruption. Finally, we told you that 800 Ugandans received fake COVID-19 vaccines in the month of May. To follow us on social media, we are at News Central TV. You can download our mobile app on App Store and Play Store. You can also watch News Central live on Star Times, channel 274, Aval TV, channel 23, Vision 247, Free TV, and on YouTube. As always, thank you very much for watching.